Welcome to Vlogtober, day 22. I am going to read to you a chapter from the book, My Third Grade Teacher is a Witch by A.M. Breazeale. We're wasting time. Beep, 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 beep. My alarm clock rang until I snapped it off with one quick motion. I hardly slept at all last night because I was so excited about today. Today is my first day as a third grader at Clockwork Elementary School. I jumped out of bed and strolled to the restroom. I looked at myself in the mirror as I washed my face and brushed my teeth. I dressed in blue jeans and a Star Wars t-shirt before I spiked my blonde mohawk. How cute is that mohawk? Absolutely precious. Looking good. Looking real good, I told myself with a big toothy grin. What are you doing, boy? My dad huffed. Dad wrestled me to the ground as I laughed like a hyena. I attempted to show him how tough I was, but this never worked. My dad is way too strong. You almost ready? Dad quizzed. Yes, sir, I saluted. Dad dropped me off at the front of the school. I saw many people from last school year. Kids were dressed in their newest clothes. Mamas held hands with their little ones as they escorted their child to class. I knew my dad would not be escorting me. He wants me to be independent. He wants me to be able to take care of myself. I would have to do this alone. I hugged my dad before I hopped out of the truck. I raced to the second and third grade building where I attended class last year. My dad gave me a short wave before he rolled off the parking lot. I entered the noisy building where many second and third graders were socializing before getting to class. I saw Jack talking to Miss Bunsen. She was our teacher last year. I saw LaDerek and LaShawn pushing and shoving before Miss Stu commanded the boys to get to class. That goes for everyone. Find your class and get out of the hallway, Mrs. Stu shrieked. I decided to do as I was told. I am not trying to get in trouble on the first day of school. I toured the second and third grade hall. I passed Mrs. Bunsen's classroom. Her door was decorated with a superstar theme that she had last year. I strolled past Miss Stu's classroom, which was decorated in a beach theme. The next classroom was mine. Miss Opal greeted me at the door, which was black and decorated with white roses with red trim. I read the door and it said, "We are painting the roses red in third grade," whatever that means. Good morning, young man. What is your name? Miss Opal acknowledged. Ashton Breeze, I choked. I have assigned you number 4. Hang your book bag on number 4 hook and sit in the number 4 desk. You have an assignment you must complete on the board. When you finish that, start the packet on your desk, Miss Opal instructed. I nodded and did what I was told, but I was sad to part with my Batman backpack. She had her desk arranged in groups. I was at the front of the room, seated with Jack. Jack was in my class last year. He did not know how to keep his trap closed, I mean. He always had to go to the bathroom, and he always needed the teacher to help him with everything. I will try to get along with him this year, but it is going to be tough. I pulled out my new red mechanical pencil and began the assignment. It was only the first day of school, and she was making us work. I can tell that this year will just be as bad as last year. The board told me to write the spelling words 3 times each. Here I go. 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, I wrote quickly. As I wrote my words, more kids entered the room. I recognized Grace from last year. She is quiet, but teachers seem to love her. It could be because her mom works at the school. 3, 3, 3, 4, 4, 4, 5, 5, 5, I scribbled. I felt someone touch the spikes in my hair. I glared at whomever it was. Oh, I should have known. It was Jalinthia. She cannot keep her hands to herself. Hey, I shrieked. Jalinthia continued to the coat racks. She managed to hit a couple other kids in the head. I continued to write my spelling words. 666, 777, 888. I wrote sloppy. Richard sat with my group. He was not in my class yet. Richard pulled out a pencil and a sheet of paper to begin the assignment. He scribbled with worse handwriting than mine. That is pretty bad. Jamila also sat with my group. She is smart. I can copy off of her. This is perfect. She does not talk much either. She began the assignment, and I am not surprised to see she wrote with perfect penmanship. 9, 9, 9, 10, 10, 10, 11, 11, 11. I cannot handle much more of this. The room started filling with classmates. This should be an interesting year if these are my classmates. Demario is the last kid to sit with our group. He does not talk much either. I am not going to have fun in this group. Maybe if I aggravate someone else, Miss Opal will move me to another group. 12, 12, 12, 13, 13, 13, 14, 14, 14. Only 6 more words to go. I hope Miss Opal can read this. The first bell rang and I continued to work. The classroom was silent. I continued to write my stupid spelling words as Miss Opal closed the door. She strolled around the room to make sure we were doing what we were supposed to be doing. 15, 15, 15, 16, 16, 16, 17, 17, 17, 18, 18, 18. I shook my head violently. I am not used to writing this much. Doesn't Miss Opal know it is the first day of school? 19, 19, 19, 20, 20, 20, done. Thank you, Jesus. I hope this packet has some coloring sheets inside it. Nope, doesn't look like it. The first page in the packet was a questionnaire. More writing? Ugh. First day of school. The first question asked how I got to school, and I wrote car. The next question wanted to know who lives in the house with me. Dad and my dog Jedi, I scribbled. What is your favorite color? Red, I write down. I continued with the questionnaire, trying to write as few words as possible. Jamila was still on the word 7. She wrote slowly and carefully as her pencil created letters that were perfection. Jack was trying to talk to Demario, but Demario ignored him. Richard was chewing on his pencil eraser. Good morning, everyone. Can I please have your attention for the morning announcements? Miss Olson's lovely voice. Darn, I did the wrong voice, but I'll fix it next time. Sorry. Miss Olson's lovely voice sounded over the intercom. First off, I would like to welcome all the students back to school. For lunch today, we are having pizza, trimmings, fruit choices, and milk. I have a couple of 4th graders that will complete the morning message. Miss Olson's voice trailed off.
Woody Allen once said, "The talent for being happy is appreciating and liking what you have instead of what you don't have." Students and teachers do not embrace these words. If you never strive for more, then our nation will come to a halt. If our founding fathers had embraced Mr. Allen's words, we would still be drinking tea and speaking with British...
The girl whose voice was speaking was interrupted. That is not what it says, Matilda. Henry, take over, Miss Olson muttered to the children. All of the students in Miss Opal's class giggled. She gave us that teacher glare that told us to hush or else. We silenced. Woody Allen once said, "The talent for being happy is appreciating and liking what you have instead of what you don't have." Students and teachers embrace these words. Being content with ourselves is the only way to truly be happy. A boy's voice spoke. Quoted Woody Allen. This book was published in 2014. Anyway, please bow your heads for today's prayer. Mrs. Olson's voice continued. After the prayer, we all stood for the pledge. Once that was over, Principal Bailey spoke a few words to us. I pretended to be listening. We all continued our morning work. Miss Opal had us write our names on our school supplies before she collected the school supplies. She hurried around the classroom like she was racing against a clock. Miss Opal is a tall, slender woman. She has dark brown hair with bright brownish green eyes. Her skin is fair and covered with freckles. So far, she did not speak. I continued with my work. I am thinking my hand will not work after today. I flipped the page in my packet and it instructed me to write my doubles addition facts. It is the first day of school. Is she kidding? I made the decision to give my hand a break. I pretended to write. This classroom looks like a flower shop. Threw up in here. There was a bulletin board that was black and it was covered with an assortment of flowers. The bulletin board read, "Pick reading and change your life." The bulletin board next to this one said word wall, and all the words I had written were on this wall. There must have been 1,000,000 books by the bulletin board. Miss Opal had 3 beanbag chairs on the floor by the bookshelf. Thump, thump, a finger bumped my head. "Get to work," Miss Opal commanded. I quickly started to write. 0 plus 0 equals 0. 1 plus 1 equals 2. 2 plus 2 equals 4. 3 plus 3 equals 6. 4 plus 4 equals 8. Miss Opal started to view the spelling words I'd written. Her thin eyebrows winced. She did not look happy with me. What is she thinking? This is sloppy. You'll do this again during recess, she hissed. I nodded, but seriously, I wanted to cry. Tears formed in my eyes, but I pushed them back. Miss Opal told Richard that he needed to do his over also. I continued writing my doubles as neatly as I could. 5 plus 5 equals 10. 6 plus 6 equals 12. 7 plus 7 equals 14. 8 plus 8 equals 16. Doesn't she realize this is the first day of school? 9 plus 9 equals 18. 10 plus 10 equals 20. 11 plus 11 equals 22. 12 plus 12 equals 24. Yes, I am done. What is next on the list? The packet instructed me to read the math story that was inside my desk. I pulled the book out of my desk and it was The Math Curse by Lane Smith. At least I do not have to write anymore. I picked up the story and began to read. I noticed Jamila was just now starting her packet. Jack was finished with his story. He was just sitting there leaning back in his chair. Miss Opal quickly instructed him to read the story again. Everyone seemed to have a different book. Jack's book was Circumference in the First Round Table by Cindy Neusch. Can you read that? Can y'all say that word right there? Well, anyway, I know I'm mispronouncing it, but that's a great story. Circumference in the First Round Table, by the way. Jack seemed annoyed that he had to read the story over. The book I was reading is actually pretty good. The pictures were colorful. I enjoyed looking at the pictures the most. Miss Opal was still strutting around the room while checking students' work. I could not help overhear that Maggie, Michael, and LaShawn also had to stay inside during recess. La 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 la. A sound box on Miss Opal's desk sang. At the sound of the noise, Miss Opal stood at the front of the classroom. She was wearing a black skirt with a white shirt. I do not see how she can walk in those pointy-toed shoes. Good morning, class, she greeted. Good morning, some of us greeted. No, that is all wrong. When I say good morning, class, you are to say good morning, Miss Opal. Let's try that again. Good morning, Miss Opal, we all greeted. Better. I expect that every time. Now when you enter my classroom, you are to hang up your bag and return to your seat. I will have an assignment posted on the board. You will work quietly. That means no talking whatsoever. I also expect your best work. Every assignment I give you has meaning. I do not accept sloppy work. If you give me sloppy work, you will be staying with me during recess until you meet my expectations. Does everyone understand? Yes, Miss Opal, we all said in unison. After a allotted amount of time, you will hear singing like you did this morning. That means you should be completely finished with your morning work. If you are not, you will stay with me during recess to complete the work. You need to get out a clean sheet of paper, Miss Opal informed. I pulled out my red notebook and ripped out a sheet of paper. Jack motioned for me to give him a sheet. I did. Jamila had a sparkly pink notebook and she neatly pulled a sheet from it. Richard flipped his packet over to use the back. Demario kept the paper inside his notebook. That took way too long, Miss Opal complained. Put your paper back in your desk. What is she talking about? That was not too long. It took maybe a minute or two. Once again, the class and I pulled notebook paper from our hiding places and waited patiently to begin. Miss Opal seemed pleased this time. She strolled along the classroom to make sure everyone had what they needed. Better. Now, I want you to write your first and last name on the top right-hand side of your paper like this. Miss Opal snapped her fingers, and the clean chalkboard transformed into an oversized piece of notebook paper. Oh my goodness! How did she do that? The paper seemed to appear out of thin air. The rest of my classmates stared in amazement too. Miss Opal picked up a dry erase marker and wrote Willow Opal on the top right-hand side of the paper that covered the chalkboard. The rest of us wrote our name where she had directed. Miss Opal scanned her students to make sure we wrote our name where we were supposed to. She seemed pleased. Now, the number I assigned you when you came to my door needs to go beside your name like this. Miss Opal wrote the number 0 beside her last name. You will find this number on your desk, Miss Opal reminded. I wrote a 4 beside my name. My hand was feeling a little better. Maybe I just needed a break from all the writing. You will need to write today's date under your name like this. It is August 5th, 2013. Miss Opal wrote the date under her name. Once again, she scanned the room to make sure everyone was writing the date where they were supposed to. Once again, she seemed pleased with us. In the center of your page, you will write the morning message. Miss Opal snapped her fingers again, and a paragraph appeared on the oversized notebook paper. How does she do that? I wish Miss Opal would do that on my paper so I don't have to write all of that. I started writing in the neatest handwriting I could manage. I will give you 2 minutes to copy this down. When you are finished, put your pencils down so I will know you are ready to continue. 2 minutes later, an alarm came from the sound box. Beep, 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 beep. The sounds got louder and louder with each beep. Time is up. Let's fill in the blanks. I need a volunteer to read the first 2 sentences of the morning message while filling in the blanks as you read. Hands shot up. We all wiggled and stretched, and that she would call on us. Y'all have seen this before if you're a teacher, I know. She motioned for us to put our hands down. She seemed displeased once again. That is not necessary. All you have to do is raise your hand up like this and wait. Miss Opal modeled. Now you try. This time our hands shot straight up and still. A pleasant look crossed Miss Opal's face. She thought about who she would choose before she picked Greg. Today is August 5th, 2013. Today is Monday. Yesterday was Sunday. And tomorrow is Tuesday. Greg read perfectly. Nicely done. Miss Opal touched Greg's shoulder and a gold star appeared on his blue shirt. Michael, read the next 2 sentences, Miss Opal instructed. Today is August. Michael started uncertain. No, that's not where we are. You will pay attention in my class. This is your only warning. Miss Opal advised. Helena, read the next 2 sentences. Miss Opal called. It is sunny and hot outside today. 5 days from now will be August 10th, 2013. Helena read clearly, pronouncing each syllable. Once again, Miss Opal rubbed Helena's shoulder and a gold star appeared. Michael, read the next 2 sentences. Miss Opal tested. He looked stunned that she called on him again. If he is anything like he was last year, he has no idea where we are. I could not wait to see him mess up. I giggled quietly as I waited. 5 days from now will be, Michael started uncertainly. No, that is not right. I warned you. Go stand in the back of the room. Miss Opal commanded. Michael did as he was told. He stood waiting with anticipation of what she was going to do next. Miss Opal snapped her fingers and turned Michael into a baby elephant. Oh my goodness, I shouted. Other classmates made similar remarks. How did she do that? We could not believe our eyes. Did we really see that? If someone would have turned one of my students into an elephant, they all would have been running out the door. Quiet, class, she commanded. Now, Michael, have a seat. The baby elephant sat. He lifted his trunk as if he was trying to say he was sorry for not paying attention. Miss Opal glared at him with disappointment. I warned you. I mean what I say. Let this be a lesson to you all. While we are on the subject, I would like to point out that elephants are smart creatures. You might have heard the phrase, an elephant never forgets. Elephants can communicate over far distances and they have amazing memories. Elephants also become sad when other non-human animals die. Michael will be an elephant for 10 minutes. Let this be a lesson to always pay attention, Miss Opal informed. Now, if this little boy goes home and tells his parents what she did to him, are they going to believe him? She turned me into an elephant. Oh, what? I tried really hard not to laugh. Michael looked funny as an elephant. He was still wearing clothes which actually fit his elephant body. He even wore his Nike shoes. This is hilarious. But how did she do that? We continued with the morning message and everyone paid close attention. Another noise came from the sound box, and this must have been to say Michael's 10 minutes as an elephant were complete. He quickly changed back into his sloppy little self. Michael made his way back to his seat. He held back tears as he sat. The rest of us could not believe that just happened. Miss Opal discussed her rules with us. No one made a sound during the rest of her class. Surprisingly, it went by quickly. Before we knew it, it was lunchtime. We practiced lining up quickly and quietly in alphabetical order. It only took us 4 tries before Miss Opal was pleased with us. We headed to the cafeteria. Once in the cafeteria, I noticed that second graders in the other third grade class were already seated. Why couldn't I be in Miss Goodman's third grade class? She seemed nice and she is Grace's mom. Third grade would be easier if I was with Miss Goodman's class. Miss Opal would not even let us sit with our friends. We had to sit in alphabetical order. I had to sit next to Demario and Helena. Neither one of them talked. I noticed Miss Opal brought her lunch. She had walnuts and English peas. That is so weird. I cannot stand her already. I finished my pizza and sat quietly. Shortly after this, Miss Opal gave the signal for us to line up. We did as she asked, and we followed her to the playground. I'm hoping she forgets that she asked me to stay in to redo my morning work. I know Miss Bunsen always forgot. She never made us stay in for recess, even if she threatened us with it. I need Richard, Maggie, Michael, LaShawn, and Ashton to come with me, Miss Opal called. Oh no, she remembered. I held my head down as I followed the other kids back to her classroom. None of us said a word. When we entered her room, Miss Opal did not say a word. We knew what to do. The 5 of us sat at our desk and copied our spelling words in the neatest handwriting we could manage. I am so annoyed. Who does she think she is? This is the first day of school. 30 minutes later, or what seemed like eternity, my other classmates came into the classroom, took their seats quietly, and waited for Miss Opal to give more instructions. The rest of the day went by as quickly as the first half. Before I knew it, it was time for school to be over. I was ready to get out of here and away from this crazy woman. The intercom sounded, and Miss Olson announced that all car riders could exit. I jumped out of my seat quickly and started to race to the door. Ashton, I want you to try that again, she growled. I wanted to cry. I was so close to being away from her. I stormed back to the desk and threw my bag down. Miss Opal glared at me. I slowly stood and walked slowly out the door. I guess she was pleased because she did not tell me to try again. As soon as I was out of the building, I ran to where my dad would pick me up. I saw my dad was third in line and I could not get in his truck fast enough. He was still wearing a white apron with blood splattered across it. We must have to go back to his shop. How was your day, son? Dad asked in his gruff voice. It was okay. My third grade teacher is a witch, I told him. Yeah, I had some teachers like that. It is part of life. Do you have any homework? Yeah, I have to find 5 things around the house that are an inch long. That is not too bad. I also have to read this book 2 more times so I can take an AR test on it tomorrow. What is AR? Accelerated Reader Test. It is a program at school where when we finish reading a book, we can take a test on the computer for points. The teachers usually give us prizes when we earn a certain number of points. I tell him, wow, she wants you to test already? Your teacher must be a witch. Doesn't she know it is the first day of school? Dad chuckled. I know, right? I declared. So that is chapter 1. Since chapter 2 is only like 3 pages long, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and read it. I hope you don't mind. Chapter 2, Big Joey's Meat Shop. We made our way to Dad's shop. When we pulled into the parking lot, I could not wait to get out of the truck. His shop was a small building, but it served its purpose. Big Joey's Meat Shop was displayed on the top of the brick building. Dad had paid big money for it to be landscaped. I just need to clean up and we can go home, Dad told me. I hope he does not expect me to help. I worked really hard today. I do not feel like doing anything else. Well, I could play with my handheld video games. I would not mind doing that. Dad unlocked the shop door. We went inside and he told me to grab a rag to help him clean the counter. I did not argue. My dad does not play with me. I would get a whooping if I complained. I grabbed a washcloth and helped him wipe the counters. We got done quickly, but now Dad told me to sweep. I hate to sweep. It is so pointless. It is just going to get dirty again. I grabbed a broom and swept as fast as I could. You are being sloppy. You need to go back over that spot again. Dad pointed to the area behind the deli. I grunted and did it again. As I swept, Dad wrapped the meat in the front counter and placed it in the cooler. When I finished sweeping, Dad mopped. We're all done. Thank you, Jesus. Let's go grab some food, Dad said. Once at home, I started working on my homework. Dad and I got a ruler and started scoping the house for things that were an inch long. This is kind of fun. Between Dad and me, we were done within 10 minutes. Dad also listened to me read the math curse before he kissed me goodnight. I took a shower, brushed my teeth, and picked out my clothes for school tomorrow. Hopefully Miss Opal would not turn me into anything tomorrow. It would be okay if she turned Jack into something. I drifted off to sleep. So I plan on reading this book throughout Vlogtober. The next book, or the next chapter, is called The Picnic Game. Also, y'all, I have a little confession. I'm not embarrassed about it. I am A.M. Breazeale. Allie Mack and A.M. Breazeale are the same person. And I didn't know what to vlog today, and I figured this story is about a witch, and it is Vlogtober, so why not? Anyway, I hope you enjoyed chapters 1 and 2. My 3rd grade teacher is a witch story. It was really fun to write. And anyway, I will see you tomorrow. Y'all have an amazing day. Goodbye.